Well, hello, guys. Welcome back and welcome to level 11 of 2020. You made it! Yay! Oh boy, we had some stuff going on today. First, I had a grand plan to leave up all the pumpkin themed stuff for Thanksgiving. We're having a windstorm, so there went that idea. I had to run and get everything before it ended up in the street. And some of it was already on the other side of my hedges, so that was fun. And I had planned the second video you got today for you guys like weeks before, and then I found about 20 or 30 articles. Every Karen in the world must write articles, and they wrote basically that I couldn't do it. Okay. I wasn't even allowed to mention that today is the Day of the Dead. I'm like, wait, what? Aren't we supposed to appreciate one another's culture? What the hell, 2020? And the long and the short of it is, I was supposed to do that last night. I didn't do it. And, La Santa, she got very upset. And we had to talk through our anger, you know, to each other. And hers is a lot scarier than mine, trust me. And she was angry because she's like, she's like my mom. She was there when my mom died and I had absolutely nothing and my predatory family was coming around. They all wanted to take everything from me. She is the one that I hid under her skirts like a little baby. And she protected these stupid gringos. She doesn't call me that, but I do. And she goes, you know 2 words. Good for you. She loves the fact that I don't speak Spanish. I never had the ability to learn. I've tried to teach myself, and just to cheer her up, sometimes I'll try to say something in Spanish. She laughs, and she waves her hand at me, and she says, "Stop butchering my language. I understand you just fine." They pull it out of her head, as far as we know. That's where they get our language from. And she was very upset and angry. She wanted to know why aren't I celebrating mommy's traditions and, celebrating the holiday and celebrating the dead coming back, and couldn't we all use a nice cheerful holiday, in the midst of all this craziness is 2020. And, we had to talk our anger out towards each other. And she understood that I felt hurt and rejected by those articles. I mean, they were pretty nasty. And Odin shows up, and Odin's like, yeah, I understand you feel hurt, and you feel rejected, and you feel like you're being made to feel like a bad person. I mean, these were just the Karens and the PC police and everything else. Like, I'm supposed to throw away all my Katrinas, and, what's the Spanish for the male? The handsome guys. The handsome guys, and the animales and everything else. I'm supposed to take all that stuff and pitch it out because it wasn't made in Mexico. Guess what? I've served with Santa for years. All the stuff I bought from Mexico was made in China. So yeah, yeah. So before you get on your high moral horse, do at least a tiny bit of research. Find out where the hell this stuff actually originated from. And not everyone can find a artisan or can afford to pay an artisan to make something. Anyhow, he kind of refereed. He's like, I know you're hurt. I know you feel attacked and you feel rejected, but look at the people doing this. And he says, nobody that actually celebrates this holiday is going to be really mad if you honor and respect it. And if you honor and respect a tradition that isn't yours and, honor it, it's just the same as going to a mosque or going to a temple or going to the religious services of another person. As long as you're respectful and you're not making fun and being obnoxious, they will usually welcome you with open arms. So, he had to point out that is literally your mom and she's starting to frighten the rest of us. Because when she goes off, it's like watching a volcano go off. I very, very rarely have seen her angry. And, I love working with her, and we don't talk about her because of how tense everything is in 2020. But, I have this videotape that unfortunately I can't show you guys because it's not legal to just put stuff on YouTube. And they did these interviews with all these people that work with her, and even the people that are in jail that are working with her in the jail, because that is part of her story. They say, she's not bad. They're the people that are bad. They are in jail for like some very serious crimes, but they said she's not bad. It's the people themselves that are like, no, we're the bad people. She's a good girl. And a lot of her people work with her call her good girl. It's the same as if they work with Jesus or they work with the Virgin Mary or anything else. It's the same as us trying to curse somebody in the name of one of our gods, or we do it. And it's the same as, a Christian losing their temper and saying, God damn you. It's all the same thing. We're the bad ones. We're the ones that want instant revenge because somebody cut us off in traffic or somebody did something to us or we're going to get our revenge, so we put a curse on you. We're the ones that do that, not the gods, not the goddesses. She's a very good girl. She's very feisty, but she's a very good girl. This is a warrior goddess and the goddess of the dead, and you know her backstory. She was sacrificed as a baby, and I start to crying. She's like, "Why are you so sad? When you were a baby, they sacrificed you." And she goes, I can't understand you when you hit that note. And the only two that can translate me at that point are Loki and Coyote because they're like, it's not even that high. So consider Loki has foxes, Coyote is a coyote. They're like, yeah, she just said that you were sacrificed as a baby, and it was so sad. You know that's learning about the culture and getting to spend time with her and watching her laugh as I would make carnitas, and one time I set the damn house on fire trying to make carnitas, so that was the last time I ever made my own carnitas. I set the stove on fire, luckily I put it out. But what was happening is I'd made carnitas a lot of times before, and somehow this was the first time this ever happened. It wasn't like a splash up or anything, but I went to move the carnitas. Some of the oil came out of the pot, which is this is risky to make them at home, and damn if the stove didn't go up. Luckily, I put it out. I opened my door and there was smoke coming out of my house. And she looked at me and she goes, you are buying these made now from now on. I don't know what's wrong with you, but you're like, and the same thing with the making gorditas and making, tortillas and everything. She'd watch me, and I have the pan and everything, and I got the instructions, and I watched these sweet old abuelitas. Please tell me you got that right at least. Making them, and she watched me, and she would smile, and she would nod, she'd go Cece, and you know, after a while though, watching me work with kitchen equipment, she was like, "How did you ever work in a kitchen?" So she's like, "You're getting Porky Lens from now on. You're not allowed to make anything." So I have all the equipment. I have the chocolate maker and the pounding thing, and I have the pan that I'm sorry, I forget the name. And I have all this stuff to make Mexican food with because when I ever start to work with a god or goddess, if I can afford to, I buy the proper cooking equipment. That's one way I learn about them. She's like, no, no, you can just go buy it. She won't really care if I bought Taco Bell, though. She keeps teasing me, and I hope I get the word right, but she keeps saying she's gonna get me chipolinas. Put those in my tacos, crickets. So she she was hurt. She wanted her holiday. It's one day of year, and I have to remember Mother's Day, or I will be hurt. She's a sweetheart. You just don't want to make her mad. Um, and the other gods and goddesses got upset too, and everybody was angry, but we had to get that anger out. It's important to get your anger out and discuss it with your gods and goddesses. And Odin got it. He says, you feel attacked. You feel like we're going back to the 1950s where we all have our culture separate and we don't look at each other culture. And that was very painful growing up in the 80s and having people around that were from the 50s that thought that us kids, we would go to school and we would all celebrate each other's holidays. And that's how we learn, and that's how we learn to care about each other. It wasn't a big deal in my time to celebrate Hanukkah or Day of the Dead or whatever else. As long as there was a kid in the class that had it, we all celebrated it. Now we will be, people will be saying that's racist, but no, everybody celebrated everyone's holidays and we all got along. I mean, there's hundreds of holidays, if not thousands, happening this time of year, and you can make up your own holiday if you don't want to take part in any of them. But it was very important to her that we did it, that we at least acknowledged the day. And, it can vary from region to region, and, every scholar disagrees. A lot of people will say originally the holiday was over a month long, but it was like sometime during the summer, and other people say, no, you're wrong, it was this time of year. It was a festival, it was a holiday, it was over a month long. To a month long, people debate about the length too. Unfortunately, we've lost a lot of the history with all of our gods and goddesses because when new religions come in, and even pagan religions are guilty of this, they kind of literally bury the other religion. They destroy all their stuff and they bury it, and that god never existed. But we are having fun. I don't have sugar skulls or anything. Every year I mean to buy the molds and try to make them on my own, but she's like, "No, I've seen you cook." So I'm a fine cook. It's just like she's like, "No, no." And every year I mean to buy her something and I don't, it's not I don't love her or anything. It's either the finances are tight or this year we have COVID. God damn it, I meant to get her Mexican Coke for at least and buy some food, but we had some roast chicken, so she appreciated that. And it's important though this year that we talk about what's making us angry, whether it's COVID and we're angry and we're scared, or it's the elections and we're angry and we're scared, or it's the bad actions of other people and it makes us angry and scared. It's important to talk about it and to realize, something's already happened. We can't change that it's happened, but we can change what happens going forward. So, it's gonna work out. It is. So we hope you guys are having a good one. But that was important to her that we did that. And you notice I've started talking about everyone else less and less and less because we just have this really bad thing. I think that it's really bad. Everybody wants to separate all the cultures now, and that belongs to them, and don't you touch that or look at that. That doesn't help anybody. That doesn't help us learn and grow when we share our cultures. It helps us, learn and grow as people. And it helps us learn that really these cultures are usually pretty much, a lot's the same. Yeah, it has the flavor the culture it comes from, but, every culture around the world celebrates the dead or remembers them sadly or whatever you got going on. My Italian family would do the same exact thing as ofrenda, but they wouldn't call it that. And it's actually a little creepier when Italians do it because they go out and they buy the glass case. I don't know if all Italians do it, but the Italians in my family do it. And they put the pictures and they put the stuff in there, and it's there's something about the way they set it up. It's actually kind of spooky. And, I have my altar for the dead too, as most people do. You have this place where you have the pictures of all your ancestors, but I keep mine happy. But, like, for the Italians in my family, it was a very solemn, don't you dare speak about the dead. Don't you dare do anything. It's why I like Day of the Dead. It's like, yeah, speak about the dead. Remember all the good stuff they did. It's a lot like our Samhain where we party and we have a festival and we have the jack-o'-lanterns and the bonfires and everything and we have a celebration. I told one of you, and I think this helps a lot of us to remember, especially with going through COVID and all we've lost this year. There's this beautiful story about there's this young man, and he's lost a family member, and he's crying, he's crying. Now, this doesn't mean that people that celebrate Day of the Dead don't cry or get sad when they lose someone. Of course you do, but his family kept telling him, "Hey, we know you're sad, we know you're sad, but you have to dry your tears." And he kept crying and kept crying and kept crying. And I believe it was his mom. And eventually his mom comes back in a dream and she's soaking wet. She's soaking wet. And she says, "You have to stop crying. Look at me. I'm soaking wet and it's holding me down and I'm slipping all over the road to the land of the dead." She says, "I know you miss me, but I'm always with you. But will you please stop crying so I can go where I need to go?" So, he woke up and he felt comforted. And, going forward, he was better. And having lost a lot of people, I can tell you guys, it does get better. It gets better over time. You have to choose, though, to let it get better. And some days that is a little hard. It's not that I don't miss my mom or dad being here in the flesh, but to me, they're still here with me. It's just they're not in the flesh. And the longer the time goes by, you may get days or, longer times where you really don't think of the person. And it's not you're forgetting them. It's you're busy doing your stuff, but you will always still take time to remember them and talk to them. So they're always with us. We really don't lose them. It's just we don't have them here in the flesh, and that's the hard part. But it does get easier. There, you will meet a few people who will tell you it gets worse and worse, but they chose that path. You have to choose a path of, yeah, I'm really sad, and go through mourning at your own pace, but also choose to be happy because that's what they would want for us. My mom on her deathbed told me, all she wanted was for me to be happy. My dad on his deathbed, he had driven my mom somewhere that day and got us McDonald's, and he chose to come home. So, the dead don't want us to, mourn forever. It's okay to be sad. It's healthy to be sad. And there's no set time limit to how long you'll be sad, but as time goes on, you'll be comforted. You can talk to the dead, and you can feel them, come back and talk, talk to us and sense our comfort. Because I've really been talking to my mom about stuff, especially about, should I do Halloween? Should I not do Halloween? I still don't know if I did the right thing. Everything's topsy-turvy, and we have too many people telling us too many different things. And I'm like, should I vote? Should I not vote? I don't want, I probably would be fine. But obviously nobody wants to take a risk of getting sick or spreading it to people, because I said, I know my friend's going to want to have Thanksgiving. She's really going to surprise me if she doesn't. I know she's going to want to have Christmas. Now, I will, if I go to vote, I will be in from voting time to Thanksgiving, so that would give me a good amount of time to see if I develop any symptoms, which I'm not saying, that I'm not going. I think I probably am, because I talked to Odin. I said, look, I appreciate your concern for my health. I said, but I'm going in, I'm coming out. I said, I said, if there's a huge long line, I will come home and I will wait for a bit, and then I will go back and I will vote. I'll go early in the morning when most people won't be there. So, I just, to recap, it's okay to be sad or angry, but it's important to talk it out. And our dead are, still certainly with us. I had the mill, and I had did the magic and did the moon magic and everything yesterday. And, I certainly talked to my mom and dad. And you can certainly feel your ancestors with you, when you talk to them. Sometimes it takes time to find it. I think my parents probably both, once my mom had passed, I think my mom came around for a little bit. Then it was like they both went on vacation for a while. And then from time to time they check back in. So, it works differently for everyone, but definitely any holiday where we remember the dead is a good thing, and to remember them in a happy, healthy way. So, if you guys like what you see, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later. Bye bye.